Collaborative Action for Research and Education is a platform of sorts as of now. We are working to create a community to create conditions of research for students, especially from marginalized backgrounds. We realize that the institutional structure is created as such that it doesn't address the holistic needs of students from marginalized communities, which is why you're left with a gap. In terms of your experiences at the universities.
So far, we've had major projects under CARE to get the resources to an aspiring researcher, financial allocation to women whose education was affected by COVID-19. It's the workshop series that we're presently doing. We have an e-magazine coming out, which is called Public Feelings. The ultimate aim, though, is to create a digital space where research and all allied activities, including book reading, articles, etc., are discussed. And there's a promotion of new kinds of methods of writing, and especially to see contributions from young researchers who are currently a part of our workshop program and are attached with us with the assistance program.
Today we have with us Ms. Niharika Singh and Ms. Simple Rajra. So Ms. Niharika Singh is working in the field of media literacy, and Ms. Simple Rajra is starting her PhD in political theory from Oxford University. So they both are from CARE, that is Collaborative Action for Research and Education.
Welcome both of you to the live session. I hope you both are good, happy and healthy.
Thank you so much for having us. It's really nice.
So I've already given a brief introduction. I'll just repeat that Ms. Niharika and Ms. Simple, they are from the CARE organization, that is Collaborative Action for Research and Education. And they are working for education and improving the access, increasing the access for it. So ma'am, you've studied, you will be studying from Oxford University. Ms. Niharika is working in, currently she's working in field of media literacy, and Ms. Simple is starting her PhD in political theory from Oxford University. So ma'am, this was a brief intro of you. So it would be kind of you if you could tell us more about yourselves, and so that our viewers get to know you more.
Do you want
Thank
to
you so
go
much,
ahead, Simple?
Chaitanya. Yeah, okay. That's really kind of you for the introductions. Yeah, as you said, I'm going to start my PhD in September at the University of Oxford, and before this I was doing an MPhil in political theory only at the same university. And before that, I did a master's in politics with a specialization in international relations from JNU and a bachelor's from University of Delhi. So yeah, that's pretty much about me. I've also worked briefly with the Center for Equity Studies for a while. Niharika?
Hi, I'm Niharika. I have studied journalism, political science, and currently I am working with media information literacy, because as we realize that digital literacy is something that everybody's looking forward to, everybody's talking about it, but there's another aspect of it called media information, and which is basically something I'm working with.
Okay ma'am, so I would like to ask you that can you tell us about your organization, what it works for, and what is your aim and what are the objectives?
Yeah, I'll take that if you don't mind. So Collaborative Action for Research and Education is a platform of sorts as of now. We are working to create a community to create conditions of research for students, especially from marginalized backgrounds, because we realize that when it comes to higher education, particularly at the university and the college level, there is a certain knowledge gap when it comes to applications, both at the central university level in India and as well as applications outside, when it comes to financial conditions of being in a university. We realize that the institutional structure is created as such that it doesn't address the holistic needs of students from marginalized communities, which is why you're left with a gap in terms of your experiences at the university. So we're trying to create a platform that could address the substantive discrimination and isolation that is produced at the university. We intend to do this primarily through 3 types of interventions. One would be to create a sort of a digital resource base so that students can contact us when it comes to applications, when it comes to scholarships, when it comes to living conditions in the university, where to go, who do you contact, Suppose you want to go outside, what do you do about it? What's the visa process? So basically everything from scratch on that. And not just a digital resource base in terms of application procedures, but also say in terms of exam preparations, getting access to articles as well as resources online. Second is that we aim to decolonize the research practices to increase engagement with research from marginalized students, such that, because we understand that even within research, there is a certain hierarchy as to which research gets published, what gets pedestalized. And in a lot of spaces, some students often have to face that discrimination. And the third is that we understand that all of this is coming because inherently there is a gap in funding, right? So we want to address that. A lot of students have to leave their education midway because their funding needs are not met. A lot of students can't apply to certain universities because their funding needs are not met. So we intend to create, to make sure that that gap is also filled. Eventually, we want to make sure that we're doing this at a much broader level, such that there are interventions from, public policy sector as well as the government in making sure that there is more to education rather than where we currently at. So that's primarily what we aim to do as of now.
So ma'am, what projects you have undertaken so far, both of you?
Okay, hi. So far we've had, you asked about projects, right? So far we've had like 2 major projects under care. The thing about research is that it is made out to be a very individualistic pursuit. So you do it alone and you do it rigorously, or that's how it's imagined to be. But when you are in a university, you have your friends, you have classmates and professors who are discussing your research and coming up with better ideas or more comprehensive ideas. But A, that does not happen with everybody. And B, your college might not be able to provide you that kind of setting so that you can research your topic or those resources. So some way that became our first project to get the resources to an aspiring researcher. A researcher itself is not a person who's highly promoted in the Indian Education Committee, especially in liberal arts and humanities. So we felt that we needed to support those aspiring early career researchers, and which is where we came up with this. It really helps when you can speak to someone who's worked in the same field and discipline as your interests are. For example, you might be working on Punjabi literature with a feminist lens. So you need to talk to somebody who's particularly worked on that aspect, or you need to talk to somebody who's worked on a similar discipline.
Right.
And talking to someone helps a lot. So this became our first project where we matched about 50 students belonging to the Dalit Bahujan Adivasi community and religious minorities with already established researchers in universities abroad and in India. And we allowed them to have a conversation. We began with a conversation. So you can just talk, you can just display your confusion. It's all right. You can just say that I'm confused. And here is somebody who is there to listen to you and help you out so that you don't run away from research. You don't get scared of research. So the second intervention that we had was financial allocation to women whose education was affected by COVID-19. And we basically provided them a one-time fund grant so that they don't have to miss out on their education or that they don't stop studying further. And I think we assisted about 25 plus people with that. And we will be trying to make that a permanent feature. The third, obviously, as you know, is the workshop series that we are presently doing.
So ma'am, what is the current project you're working on?
Yeah, so right now we are working on a graduate admissions abroad workshop series, which is trying to focus on admission process to foreign universities along with scholars who are already placed in these universities. So we're doing a series of workshops. The first one that we did was trying to focus on how to plan for research abroad. We did this with 3 scholars from University of Oxford who tried to address what to do from the scratch, right? Suppose you just want to join and you do not know who to approach and what to do and how to gather your application material. So we focused on that, where we divided the workshop into 3 sections. One was to focus on the statement of purpose that you apply for. So basically on application material, on your letters of recommendation, on your statements of purpose and everything. And the next workshop that we are trying to do, and so we are currently in the workshop phase, which is why we'll do a series of workshop which will include addressing the financial situation as well. The next workshop is on scholarships. And afterwards, we're also doing some workshops for early career researchers, interventions for postdoctoral researchers and the kind of opportunities that you get for postdoctoral research outside. We're also doing some that are specific to national overseas scholarships, to the kinds of alternate funding programs that are available. For example, a lot of students try to fundraise the money. So we're trying to see what are the strengths and challenges for that. Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. on the 18th. And we are focusing specifically on a scholarship set. We've invited 4 people. One is from the University of Toronto, one is from two are from University of Oxford, and one is from the Harvard Law School. And each of them are going to take up specific aspects of their particular scholarship that they received, as well as some specific aspects of what scholarship processes entail in general. So like, how do you prepare for the interview? How do you answer the application questions? How do you make sure that you have a good research proposal or a grant proposal? And sometimes it so happens that certain universities do not ask you to submit a separate scholarship letter. So in that case, how do you make sure that your application in itself, the standard application that you send in itself, is reflective of your scholarship needs? Basically, we'll have 4 people, and each of them will address some unique aspects of the scholarship application process, and each of them will tell us about their unique scholarship also. So we have Rhodes Scholarship, Fulbright Nehru Scholarship, Chevening Scholarship, as well as Connaught Fellowship for Canada. So every speaker will address all of these. Yeah.
And ma'am, after all these workshops, what are you looking forward to?
We have a lot of things going on at the moment. Other than the workshop series, we have an e-magazine coming out, which is called Public Feelings, which focuses solely on long interview as a format and includes conversations about the university, education, loving, hating academic work, politics, rent, and everything which the university and students are involved in. But our ultimate aim, though, is to create a digital space where research and all allied activities, including book reading, articles, etc., are discussed. And there's a promotion of new kinds of methods of writing, and especially to see contributions from young researchers who are currently a part of our workshop program and are attached with us with the assistance program, to see what they can build. So our ultimate aim is to see a community which sort of builds together on itself. We also want people to teach their research. So you see that the people are doing interesting work with oceans, Anthropocene, climate change, and with various methodologies. So we want people to come and teach it and like have more people learn about it, read about it. So in a way, we don't want to build a university. We just want to take down the university walls and bring all that writing to the public. So like everyone should have a chance to demand, okay, show me your research. Let me see what you're doing. I want to have a say in it.
So ma'am, all the workshops that you've started, were all of these workshops online?
Yeah, as of now, we've had to do online workshops only because we've just started and the pandemic is happening right now. So it's kind of the only method in which we can interact and get a lot of people together. And I also find that in that way, at least it's more accessible to students in some manners, although of course there is a digital divide. So not everyone can access these workshops again, because not everyone, even in India, has internet or access to digital infrastructure, a laptop or a smartphone. So we're trying to make it stepwise and make sure that we address the gap in digital infrastructure through some aspects in certain workshops. And we hope to make sure that every student can eventually try to get the education of their dreams eventually. But as of now, it's a stepwise process.
Ma'am, you both are doing a great job. What message would you like to convey to our viewers?
The only particular messages that we have as such is that we hope that everyone joins the workshops, even from Jammu and Kashmir, because we hope that students can bridge that gap through these workshops, whether it comes to application procedures, whether it comes to financial situation and how to get a scholarship, or it comes to certain challenges that they're facing within their research. And eventually we want to hope that we have workshops on separate topics as well, some things that are not related just to the application procedure. Also hoping that we'll have workshops for application procedures for Delhi University, for JNU, for universities in India. So one, we would request everyone who is watching the live and who eventually watches to go to our pages and look at the kind of work we are doing and the kind of, if there is anything that we can do for them to make their education journey easier, then they can definitely let us know. So as of now, we have 3 different forms also. One is a collaboration and assistance project where students can connect to collaborators who are in these universities. So you can have a one-on-one with them if you fill the form, and then we match you to them. Then we, of course, have the current workshop series, and we also we're trying to build an academic resource base. So even for that, if there is any sort of syllabi that you think you have on you and you want to send it to us for a sort of, research open or a common space for public research, you can send it to us. And then eventually, once we have everything on the website, you are free to use it and, make sure your research journey is better. Sorry, Niharika, I think you were trying to say something between.
No, I think we got it.
Okay, great.
This was the end of the live session. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much, Chaitanya, for hosting this so kindly and for inviting us. This has been a pleasure to speak to you.
And same here, you're doing a great job, and I hope that people join in the workshop and learn a lot of things. So thank you so much, Manu, for joining.
Thank you.